information that you're able to extract from that embryo. Look at the metabolites that it's secreting, look at the genomes that it has, look at the kind of proteins that it's going to be secreting later on, get the information out, and then decide what you want to do with this embryo and whether it actually has the potential of creating a healthy baby. Now, there are two factors and two areas which are so controversial and right out there in the offing for us. One is CRISPR. This is one technology that has become so debatable in the field of fertility right now. You want designer babies? Yes. You have the good looks of a movie star. You have the strategy analytic thinking of somebody like Mr. Yes, they have used it even without any kind of regulations. You have a Chinese doctor who went on to create twins who sort of didn't want to have any HIV or be susceptible to HIV. Did he manage to do that? The answer is yes. But what have we seen a few months later? That this technology, even though it made them free of HIV, has actually reduced their lifespan. So this is where we have to look at where technology is going. Where does ethics start? When do you start and where do you stop? There is a whole field out there, but this is where we as clinicians and as biologists have to understand what do we do with the technology that is at hand. The last final bit is this, is do away with surrogacy. Do away with conceptions in the human body. Look at developing a fetus outside. This is not what God had intended, but frankly, this is where science is taking us. Every time we go through Hyderabad airport, I always see something new. There's a scaffolding coming up, there's some kind of construction going on. And their slogan is, we are getting future ready. I think as fertility specialist, I would like to adapt that slogan. We are at that stage where we are getting future. The scene is changing, the science is coming up. It's for us to understand what is good, what is bad, and then move forward. Thank you very much.
అనయ్య ఏంటిది?
మూవీ బఫర్ అవుతోంది కదా తమ్ముడు, వెయిట్ చేద్దాం.
యాక్ట్ స్మార్ట్.
Get the Act Smart Fiber Advantage. Built for smart TV for buffer-free 4K streaming.
స్టెయిన్ బ్లాస్టర్ టెక్నాలజీతో 20 గంటల రెగ్యులర్ క్లీనింగ్ ఒక సెషన్ లో పొందండి. అర్బన్ కంపెనీ ప్రొఫెషనల్ క్లీనింగ్.
You're right, Vishal. You did say it wasn't all doomsday, and I would agree on that because I think there's quite a lot to look forward to when we're talking about fertility treatments. So let me start off with this. Is there something like an ideal marriage? I'm not getting into a philosophical discussion. In fact, some might even call it a mythological discussion as to, is this a myth as to whether there is an ideal marriage? But you ask a fertility specialist, they'll say, yes, there is an ideal marriage. And for us, IVF is the ideal symbiotic union between medicine and technology. I think this is the field in which you will actually see the best of both. So what happens in the process of IVF? You have the egg and the sperm, which is taken into the lab under the technological advances, the air quality that is being produced, and the skill of the biologist. The embryo undergoes its development, gets put back into the uterus, and pregnancy is created. So this is where we are talking about the union between medicine and technology. Now, when we are talking, and frankly, for a fertility specialist, the most rate limiting step for us is eggs and sperm. And this is where we see, and what we are actually looking forward to now is not just making do with what we have, but for sperms, but most of the offspring that have been created is more in the animal world. We still don't have anything in the humans. What we're also looking at is this. What we are trying to move away is not, say, donor for everybody. We're trying the couple to have their own genetic child. And towards that concept is where medicine is actually moving towards. And one such thing is such that when you have a woman who is much older in age but has chosen to have her children, but the egg does not have the developmental competency, what we are trying to do is augment the eggs. See whether we can actually inject it with some kind of activation factors, bring it to the same developmental potential as a 20-year-old. That's where science is going. Another way it's going is to create healthy children. If a mother has any kind of mitochondrial diseases, use her genetic material, but remove ones that are causing the disease. So keep the good, get the bad out. So potentially what we are really looking at is this. In fact, what people are actually saying is, and most of the epidemiologists are saying, is that give us a piece of hair, give us some skin cells from somebody, we'll create the eggs and sperm. Even if that couple is not alive, you're able to create generations from them. Is it possible? Potentially, yes. Scary? Definitely. Now let's look at the technological advances in the field. What is present right now is this. We are looking at much more robust, much more clearer air quality systems in our lab. We are looking at actually reducing the human errors in the lab, get the witnessing system in order. What we're also looking at is to see how best we can actually get the embryo out to say that this embryo is going to give you a better pregnancy rate. Look at all the non-invasive techniques. This is where science is leading towards. What we're also looking at is this. Don't get the embryo out. Get incubators in, get the time-lapse equipment in, look at how the embryo is developing. And this is frankly fascinating to somebody who's been in the field to see from where we have moved to where we are right now. What we are also looking at is this, is getting the best kind of incubators, get the embryo to develop into the best kind of incubators to actually mimic and get the best potential out of the ingredients. What we are also looking at this. Now, frankly, as Vishala was telling us, we are making this an extremely costly industry. Yes, all the advancements that we have been talking about is actually going to make IVF more expensive for you. But there are certain things that are being done in the field to actually reduce the cost. And one such invention is InvoCell. This is actually a walnut-sized kind of an invention, which actually gets the egg and the sperm put in. It's put into the woman's vagina that acts as an incubator. It is removed 2 or 3 days later. The embryos are removed and transplanted. Has it changed the scene yet? The answer is no. But at least some work is being done in this direction to see whether we can make the process more economical or not. What we're also doing is trying to automate things, trying to get the skill out of it. Put the embryos in this machine. In 4 easy steps, it actually does the vitrification for you. Do you need a biologist there with a lot of skill? The answer is no. What are we looking at in terms of the future? This is what is happening.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापम् सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः को दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश पतिं स्वच्छामि मे सदा शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः